Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Super Jury News podcast. As featured on the Pink CD Twitch channel. Let me just adjust this Discord window a little bit. How's everyone going? Look, we got a full house here. It's been a while since we got a full house. We've been so busy. Summer is insane. We got the Alexes here. I haven't seen D-Fred's actual face in like months. But there he is with a mustache. Yeah, he's got a thick mustache. Summer mustache.
Yeah.
How's everyone going? How's that episode for everybody? That's episode session 16, everybody.
What an ending to that whole two-parter.
Yeah.
It had everything, I think, in that episode that you could really want in an episode.
I wanted to ask Magnus, we didn't talk to you last time, but like this and the previous one, I guess they kind of feel like a two-parter. What do you how do you feel about that? Because I feel like you're probably putting a lot of things together because Dot's place in all this is kind of sporadic, right?
I thought these episodes were incredible. I think that especially with Dot, the all three of them sort of together really do ramp this into like a whole nother level of tone and feel, and like it explains a lot of what Dot came back into, where I was like, what the fuck? You guys are like a part of something now? Like a part of something big, and I just rebel forces. So this really is the transition from like Cowboy Bebop, the anthology kind of level, different thing every episode, to something bigger.
Yeah, to like more of a Star Warsy vibe for sure. Just so that the audience knows, Dot obviously does come back later, which we filmed a little bit of that, which is what Magnus is talking about. That's the context of it. You've already seen his first episode with us, but yeah, he does come a bit later on again, and it comes back to all of this. So it's funny that Magnus has a very particular perspective.
He got the two sides of the bun and then the sandwich filling.
Yeah. Now you see the sandwich filling. Yeah.
Ooh, and it tastes so good.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, at the very beginning, just to ease the campaign or ease into the campaign. And have that like Cowboy Bebop vibe. The stories were very personal and directly related to what you guys were doing, and kind of anthology-esque, where each episode was kind of like a different thing that you guys are tackling. But now I feel like at the end of this episode, the scope of the campaign just like opens up to like the galaxy at large, and like I feel like a lot of things are just like building up to this. So to finally introduce this, like the scale of all this was super cool to finally do. And I think it was a fitting time to do it, like after this whole insane Conjuria thing too. That just felt right.
Dude, the freaking images in the last two episodes were so cool. The imagery of just like the settings and where you guys were, and especially the music matching with the last world that you were flying into.
The Calrinia. There's some cool music tracks in here. Yeah, Calrinia was a planet that we've talked about. And then Washi's from, but we never saw it. But I thought it'd be a cool idea to like see a glass planet and what it looks like now, but also like what a perfect place for people to hide out.
Yeah, I never would have thought.
It was dope, but it was nice and heavy. Yeah, the entrance, like it felt like a different era when we showed up on it. It was like mystical, but also the reality of like, oh, something tragic happened here, as well. And like that, like is something that a lot of us experience in different ways.
Yeah, I agree. Let's rewind back to like the beginning of the episode and kind of like go a bit chronologically. The end of the fight with the Conjuria folks. I love and we didn't get to talk about this, defense, because you were here last time, but the dick swinging contest with Victor Sluga. Yeah, I love that you had Bugaki has this huge mech that he's so proud of and so like boastful about. And to have someone match that energy and to claim that his is like bigger, he did it first.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It was good. I love that.
Yeah.
Like one of the
way
smallest
they bounced off
races.
each other.
I wish I could come up with more jokes on the spot, but that
That's a good amount of dick jokes in this
good.
episode.
Plenty.
Yeah. I think the dick jokes have to be crass too after a while, and like in a way where like literally once they got to the point where they shot their guns flaccid, like they were both exhausted,
Yeah, I
even
love
just of
that.
the bit.
That's
Like
so good.
also for them was like, oh god, I don't know, I'll give us a minute, let me charge it, I'll come back swinging.
Yeah, I like that battle was also a bit of a turning point for both Mikey and Bugaki because like you guys really felt helpless. Like you guys were like having like some real
Oh
moments with each
god,
other, being like, "I'm sorry for
yeah,
this." Like you gotta
yeah,
take up. Like you guys actually thought you were gonna die, and like honestly, like it could have
oh
easily been a
god.
TPK.
Yeah. No, as I said in the episode, there's a couple moments where I was saying that like you kind of see I had like my hand in my like I was just like this. But if Whiskers didn't have their moment, if even Bugaki didn't have certain moments, I had a whole nother game plan for what I was gonna do as a character because of how dire shit was. I was like, oh, this is fucking stressful. But I had like in my head, like my heart of
Yeah, what
cards,
are you
like
gonna
I've got
do?
Oh, I've already kind of mentioned some of this to Chris, but like if we ever got to a scenario where Mikey was confronted with his family, there's a lot of stuff that he would do, and be in this scenario where it's like, oh fuck, we've lost. Mikey would probably find a way to just not like self-destruct, but do something to cause enough of a mess so that everyone else could get out. Like he would definitely
Mm.
sacrifice himself before Bugaki gets caught or Whiskers. So
Yeah,
like
I
in
can
my
see that.
head, I was like, literally, like I might have to find a way to like, if this ship doesn't start, like we're gonna be stuck here.
Mm,
And I didn't even think about the like alliance. Like I knew that it's something that had happened,
yeah.
but I
Mhm.
wasn't sure if anything was gonna come to fruition of that in that short amount of time. It felt like the way that Chris was applying pressure was like it felt real. Like in the moment, I was like, oh fuck, like he's trying to kill us.
Yeah, I don't often like I don't often love like Deus Ex Machina stuff where people get rescued by something like an external thing. But
Mhm.
I think this was set up because like and I wanted to set it up properly, like Washi's signal. You guys were in contact with Augie. You guys did put the pieces in play for you guys to get rescued at a certain point. And I
Mhm.
will like be transparent, like from the GM side, the rescue was triggered by like there were certain like conditions that had to be met, and obviously one of them Mike did fulfill was when like you were able to fly one of the ships and get out of there. That was another trigger, and also if you dealt a certain amount of damage to the mitochondrion, it would have triggered. But
Yeah.
that whole rescue sequence and the epic moment with Mohan Shikana was set for like
Crazy.
Yeah.
a certain amount of
When
conditions.
you said that you didn't have a mini, not a mini,
Yeah, like a token for the ship.
that
Yeah.
you didn't have a token for the ship, I was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here.
Yeah.
we're
I didn't
not
count on you
supposed to
actually.
leave on our own here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could have, but like in my mind, if you did get a ship, it would have been like pretty early on, and then like you would have tried to fly out. I
It would
didn't
have been
know it
us
was like
flying away from
I
the
didn't
big
know it
map.
was incorporated into the battle to the point where like I would have needed a token.
Oh, interesting.
Like yeah,
It makes it a lot more
became
stressful though.
yeah because how it played out, it became like your task during the battle, which
Because that ship ended up becoming something we had to protect. Like if Bugaki
yeah.
didn't repair the ship when he
Yeah.
did, it would have went down on that
That's
first
true.
shot, and we
Yeah,
would have
and
been
that's
like
all. That
completely
was all
grounded in
like
that
on
moment.
the
That's all-
spot too.
it's all
Yeah, that
true.
was all
Yeah.
on the spot.
Mhm.
But yeah, Mohan Shikada. The introduction of
Crazy.
Mohan Shikada, Bugaki's hero. You said it in
that shit
the
was so fucking funny.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh my
Amy's
God.
character knows and met Mohan
That's
right away,
right.
but this is like the
Yeah.
intro that these guys experience of him fucking rambling all his way into the base and rescuing you guys. Like, yeah, Deepan, you said it in the episode, but like as I was like describing everything happening, like you knew who it was already.
Yeah.
How did
Yeah,
you know?
It's so good. It just is intuition.
As soon as there was stuff being blown up, and then he said in the comm, like we heard his voice in the comms.
Yeah, you heard a yeehaw, but
And then
yeah,
I was like, all right, it can't be anybody else. Who else?
yeah,
Who else is it gonna be?
yeah. I teased it in an
Rambling,
earlier
rambling.
episode that he existed, but we had never met him. But he was a D-Fran creation.
Yeah.
I think I love the most thing about Defang Creations is sometimes they come back and bite him a little bit. Like the whole argument about the father, and like it's just such a moment. He created a character that Defang loves, but there's like a confliction between the two of them.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, that's a seed that's planted though, because now Bugaki's got these political ideas in his head and how he's supposed to be.
There's so much. I'm
Yeah,
so excited.
that
Like
kind of came out of nowhere too. Like when I just thought about it, I was like, yeah, if Mohan was like this like warrior guy that was really like against the union and wanted to fight the union, he would hate the treaty because he would have thought that Horny like gave up, right? So I thought, and like when I thought that, I was like, oh, how fun would it be to have friction between Bugaki and his absolute hero?
That's crazy. Yeah,
it's so great because it creates its own little mini arc, which is like the perfect kind of arc you need after a big arc like this. Like you have the 2-parter, you have this whole empire fight, you have kind of like our downfall into like a savior moment. But now we're in like, oh, we're in a new base, we're recovering, but like the mental stuff that we kind of have to go through while this is happening, I don't feel like I can't even remember like a moment. There's like moments in season 1, but it feels like it was like really close to the end, where there might have been moments where right before we get to the last fight that I'm like, okay, my character is feeling really heavy right now. But like after this fight, there's just so much that, you know, your character has to go through and realize that, like, okay, we have this whole war to fight now. We have like tools to fight it. Like, what do we do? Like, we have
but you guys come to the alliance like with baggage, right? Like, imagine like starting the campaign here would have been an entirely different vibe. Like, you guys have so much baggage upon reaching this base, which I love because you guys have like very complex characters at this point.
Yeah, and it's interesting that when Mohan says that stuff about Bugaki's dad, he's actually right, but then Bugaki could have been like, yeah, you're right, my dad was wrong, but instead he defends the wrong thing and says,
that's also
you're like, you know, it's hard to say what's right and wrong, but he's like, yeah, no, you're wrong, Mohan. He gets mad at Mohan, but really it's like he's kind of right, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they both have their points, right? Like Horny, you know, obviously treaties and peace is like a good thing, but yeah, little did Horny know like it would all come to this. Because now
like Mohan was right, not Horny.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but they both have like this validity in both of their
exactly, and that
arguments.
becomes the struggle. Like that's the struggle of Bugaki. Like, what does he do? You know,
it's great because it kind of shows you that moment, because like the whole time you're watching Bugaki's flashbacks before he's kind of praising his dad, he's having those like really big like, oh, my dad survived all of this and such a great hero. And then we have this flashback where he's kind of like being indoctrinated almost into learning the like Bugaki. It's like he's not interested in the Accord, but like he's okay with like living a life that he's living, like whatever the peace that has been gotten to him. But he's just like, this is stupid. Like I don't care if I remember these, which is true. Like, because there is nothing like remembering words doesn't mean anything. You had to like the actions or whatever matters. So like Bugaki's like simpleness was right, but I feel like that plays so much into like the frustration coming from his dad. Like, just say the fucking.
Well, shout out to D-Frank because like I kind of threw a curveball at him where I was like, let's do a flashback because like I think we had maybe talked about like visiting the Dingleberry Accords and doing like a flashback and talking about that briefly, but like D-Frank didn't know this was coming, and for him to like assume
for, like, 5 minutes about clauses, like what's the clause, Bugaki? What's the clause?
Yeah, for D-Frank to assume Kid Bugaki and play that scene out, like that was great.
Great job.
That was
for a curveball.
Watching it back, I was like, damn. Like it explains everything about Bugaki. You know what I mean? From that scene, because you see Bugaki didn't want to do this. He's given this insane amount of responsibility and he has no idea what he's doing. He's forced to do it all, and he's doing it all. And I love the part of that flashback where you gave Horny like a he instead of being like full militant, like you have to learn this, he kind of stopped and he was like, I love you, my son. Because that thing is probably what made Bugaki listen to his father and not be a complete rebel. because
Yeah.
he would have been a rebel if it wasn't for that his
And
loving
like
dad.
that tie-in love. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He
interesting
still
because
showed affection
that's
at the end of the day.
when I added that in there. That wasn't the intention because in my mind I was like, it was him telling you like I did all of this and sacrificed all this stuff and made this like treaty and stuff so that I could have this moment with you because I love you. Because at the end of the day, like we've talked about, it, like Horny's motivation was to like stop the war, and raise his son and like his family, right? That was his goal. And like at the end of the day, yeah, it does come down to Horny Dingleberry's love for his son. Which I love that Bukaki sees it that way because it adds a sweetness to the whole thing. Yeah.
It's crazy that this
like
podcast of dudes is like the philosophical examination of war, peace, and love. Like all told through like Bugaki and Mikey and Whiskers and all these characters. It's crazy. Yeah, sorry, Debra, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's that love for his son that made him defend his dad. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Like throughout, even up until now, like he's his dad's number one fan through and through.
Yeah.
Like that's what made him fall in the footsteps. Otherwise, he very easily could have just been like, "Fuck you, Dad."
Yeah.
Oh, that's great though.
The stuff that Mohan said, and I think this is more of like a lore drop, but I think it's the first time that we get a bit of insight as like into the New Union's history. This is the first time you guys are hearing about this, and I don't know if like Magnus or Amy knew this because you guys came in before this was or after this was revealed. But the New Union, how they've claimed to like come through the rift and how the rift is paradise and like they're this people and they have this religion and like you got to listen to them and all that stuff where Mohan kind of reveals that like his predecessors told him that like no, they didn't come from this paradise beyond the rift. They came through a rift from another galaxy that they fully fucked up and destroyed and took all the resources and basically what they're doing now they did to that galaxy. That reveal kind of, I mean, it was the colonization theme has always been with this campaign since day one, obviously. But that was like kind of a lore reveal from Mohan for you guys to hear that finally. Because I don't know if you guys knew that prior to this, but
the religion part I knew. The other side of the story that you just said that Mohan said, I did not.
Yeah, like the Riz is obviously like very clearly like covering up the true reason they came into this universe.
Did I miss the fact that there are just humans here, or was that dropped in this episode? Like, oh no, I'm just a human. I'm not one of those.
Yeah, that was technically just dropped here, but I think
it might have been hinted at when we went to Earth.
Mikey like mentioned Newman once or twice, and then he said, "No, I'm human." But yeah, it was made clear here that the Newmans are like the New Union humans that are like the ones that came into the rift. But the people that don't subscribe to their ideologies and don't like believe in all that call themselves human, which is, I mean, in our D&D connected lore with like I guess Rainbow Valley, like far in the future, humans. Are called humans and not Newmans, right? So
they persevered, let's say.
Yeah.
That's just very interesting to me because to me, Newman was synonymous with human, and just like all humans were Newmans, if that makes sense. So like there is differentiation.
I think.
Yeah.
But I think it's like easier in our brain because they wanted to subjugate themselves so far away from it that like, oh, we're just gonna, even if like you were like Mikey is a full blown Newman, but like completely disavows it and calls himself a human, even if he's like a Phazos Newman. Like he's like, in that sense.
If someone's from another race and they subscribe to Newmanism, are they a Newman? Is it like being Jewish in a sense, where you have like the?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
Well, because I guess the way that they're approaching it, they're looking for like they're trying to like entire like they want everybody to subscribe under Newmanism.
They're trying to absorb everyone into the New Union soup that they have brought to the table. And I guess they would call people Newmans if they were not, or if they did believe in that stuff or followed the faith.
Colonization.
Hey, colonization, y'all. Fuck it. That's been the theme since day one.
Yeah, when religious people go to indigenous place and then they destroy their entire culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean that was the whole idea of like this group coming into this galaxy out of nowhere and then trying to be the shit and take over everything. Yeah. I mean that was this campaign at its base, right? And look where you are now. When you guys got to the base, another fun thing that I loved, seeing snow again, the tabaxi from the train.
So good.
So when I created that snow, he didn't have a name back then. He was just this white tabaxi guy on the train to just kind of throw a wrench and like spice up that train heist of like, oh shit, there's more happening. Then after we filmed that episode, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if this was an actual character that they met and he was actually stealing shit for the Alliance? Because that makes fucking sense. Like, what would he be stealing all that tech for? And like, no, he was cool, and like, I like this design.
It makes a lot of sense for his character too. Like, it wouldn't make sense for him to really be on like the Condry and Newman side and doing like these covert jobs for like tech stuff. They would already have like all these resources already, so he would be like scrounging things up for rebellion or forces and shit, and like working as their like ground up tech dude. But he's cooler than cool.
So he became a character because of like that thing that happened back on the train. He wasn't originally or always supposed to be that, but I thought it'd be a cool addition for you guys to see him in the base and be like, oh shit, there's been things happening throughout the galaxy that are related to this alliance. We just didn't know.
Even there's a lot of characters like that, and I think both campaigns, like Jimothy, like Jimothy had a very important, like a pretty valid, like vivid part in the combat where he's just walking through getting blown up.
One of the best scenes.
Yeah, so good. Where'd my friends go? They just blow it up and then reforming. Yeah, it would freak the Conjuring people out. I don't remember why I threw him in there, but I thought it'd be hilarious because like I was like, oh, like
it
Mohan
makes so much more sense though, because it feels
Mohan's
like he's slowly having more parts.
Mohan's one guy, and like Augie and Sweet Pea would try to help as much as they could. And what could they do with what they had? They have a guy that's invincible. Why not throw that at them as like a distraction? Because from their perspective, like you guys are trying to break out, and then they wanted all the focus to be on this freaky dude that doesn't die. So Jimothy was a little bad. Yeah, I love that moment with like that combined with Mohan.
For me too, I think, because I feel like before he was always kind of like a joke to me. Like he was funny, like good comedic relief. Like he kind of messed around, but then like seeing him kind of like willingly put himself in like harm's way for the for probably the first
guys.
time.
Yeah.
It's like a very like, oh, okay, he's a home. He's the homie.
Yeah, I think I think that was another reason that I tried to do that, because like. Your relationship has always been one dimensional, like you guys killing him many times, and using him for like his experimental stuff as like proof of whatever. But him showing his appreciation for you guys, you saved him, his love for you guys, for adopting him into your family, and him wanting to do his best to save you guys, even though as much as he hates dying. He put himself on the line for you guys in that moment.
We almost left him in so many different planets too. We're like in different ways. Trying to get rid of this guy.
You know when he met him, I never counted on you guys taking him along for the ride. And now we've got this dude who cannot die, and I can't kill him off in the campaign because he can't die. So he's just here.
I like how before he was like, kill me.
Yeah.
And now he's like, this isn't so bad.
Well,
way more. Like I feel like especially now, like we're not gonna get too much into like everything else, but I feel like this, because it's the halfway point, you're gonna see all these other characters have, I feel like, character depth changes as well, because now we have a home base. Like this is like the safest we'll ever be, really. Like in the galaxy. So like even Jimothy, the life he's lived up to now, even with us since we saved him, it wasn't like a safe life. Like he's been dying constantly.
Well, because when you first met him, he was so eager to die because he was constantly getting torn up by those mutants, and like his his life on that planet was so miserable. He just wanted to end
he
it.
had slow deaths.
But then once you picked him up and he experienced life, he wanted adventures with you guys. He ate food. You know what I mean? Like he could see the how valuable and beautiful life was, and now he like doesn't want to die anymore. Which is like I love that for Jimothy.
He's like a joke character with so much potential, though. When you get down to it, like when you look at him and you listen to him right off the bat, you're like, not a serious person. But the potential, if you just explore it a little bit, and you did, is grand.
Yeah,
he reminds me of a character from Lake Avengers. The one I think he's called Immortal Man or something. I'm literally looking up now.
Comics?
Yeah, the Lake Avengers.
The Great Lake Avengers or whatever they're called?
Yeah, the Great Lake Avengers. There's a leader
That's a
of
hilarious name.
Great Lake Avengers.
Yeah, the Great Lake Avengers. Yeah, they're Avengers sector.
There's a leader, and he like can't die or something. I forgot his name though. But like he's the same way. Like Deadpool will just always bother the Great Lake Avengers when he's bored, and the only thing he does the most is fucking kill him all the time. But he can't die.
There is something very comedic about not being able to die. And I think you're right. Deadpool also does something similar where like the ability to regenerate and not
Mr.
die.
Immortal. That's his
Mr.
name.
Immortal. I've never heard of him, but
Flatman is the leader. He's literally like a
Flat.
bootleg. Yeah, he's a bootleg. What's his face?
Mr.
from
Fantastic?
Four. Yeah, Mr. Fantastic.
Wow.
That's where Squirrel Girl came from. She was
I've known about Great Lakes Avengers
before.
before.
One in Great Lake Avengers that is actually makes sense. Everyone else is like they would be considered B-list heroes, but they actually have if you think about their powers, they do have potential. You know what I mean? They're like weird and off, but
they're all Jimothys in their own way.
Exactly.
And Jimothy's got potential.
Jimothy has definitely grown on me too. Like, now that he's along for the journey.
He could be a superhero, is what you're saying.
He could be a superhero.
He's some weird form of superhero.
No, man, was it his goal in life that he told you guys is he wants to be the Black Dragon King?
yeah, he does.
What's one thing you want in life, Jimothy? I want to be the Black Dragon King.
That was when we were
happy for him.
Yeah, we were literally. What was that? We were at the Dragon Place when we were like telling him all the things he could do in life.
Yeah. But yeah, that what an episode. It's truly like this is like a turning point for a lot of things. I think a turning point for your characters, turning point for other characters, turning point for the campaign's direction. Because now you're at like a base, and now it's just like this whole like potential war at your doorstep. And we'll see the ramifications of like shaking up the whole Condria thing too, right? So the episodes moving forward are like, say goodbye to like the Cowboy Bebop chill, like you're doing silly little tasks to make money. This is the fate of the galaxy on the line now, and
jazz music stops.
Yeah. Well, I mean, jazz music is still there, but more epic for sure.
Jazz.
But and I would attribute that to definitely Bugaki and Mikey really having such a stake in the things happening in the universe, right?
I'm so excited for all the changes that are going to come our characters' ways, because like it feels like we get to play like when you're in you got your act 1, 2, and whatever. Like it feels like physically like we're entering a different act in this part, but like I don't think it even clicked into me throughout a lot of the campaign that we have so much interpersonal time with our characters now that we could like literally converse and do a lot of the RPing that we couldn't really do while we were getting blasted in space.
By the way, Sappy, do you mind if I ask, do you have siblings?
Me, yes, I do. I have a lot of older brother and sister.
Okay.
Only two.
Your banter with your make-believe siblings in this universe is always like incredible and nonstop. It's just a minigun
It's just his way
of
he vents.
quippy comments and go fuck yourselves.
Everything he wants to say to his siblings.
Yeah.
He just lets it out here.
I do have daddy issues, but no, it's funny because a lot of the sibling stuff, because like my girl, she's Italian, and like I tell her, like, I always joke, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be role playing in Italian. I don't want to offend you. Like, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to culture vulture. But I'm like, I'm taking notes at the dinner table and stuff. Because her family,
It's just an
they talk so
episode
much.
of The Sopranos.
That's amazing.
No,
You
literally,
just watch
It's
the whole
hilarious.
so much. They communicate a lot. So like, I'm literally like, I'll just laugh at the way that they talk sometimes, and I'm like, okay, it's so much easier to understand. The Italians, like generally, like that's even if they love each other, it could be a love hate thing. Like they might hate them that day. They might. It's just they just talk constantly. They shoot the shit. That's why there's moments, even when like Mikey's getting his like stomach punched when he's in prison in the other episode. They're still kind of like laughing and joking a little bit.
You should
together.
watch The Bear to get more influence. I'm not even joking. Watch The Bear, and then if you watch the second season of The Bear and the episode The Seven Fishes, where it had all a star cast of celebrities on it, like Jamie Lee Curtis played the mom, and it was a Christmas dinner.
Yeah, I heard it's like one of the greatest shows.
Shit. It don't matter who you are. If you have like a very like estranged like fan, oh my god, your anxiety is so high in that episode.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Magnus. The banter is great, and it's hard to keep up with because I have to play every sibling, and I'm like, god damn, I gotta.
You did perfect. You did perfect because I was just like, it was just like a call and response kind of thing because you had to come at me with a different attitude depending on who you were, and I feel like. The best part was like no matter what, if I said something to Rosie, I knew I was gonna get something back.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I was probably gonna get
Rosie would always roast right
for
back.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, what an episode. So we will be back next week with the start of a new era for,
I'm so
for
excited
the dudes.
For next week.
And then we will be taking a break as I do the roleplay relay, which for those of you who don't know is a 168-hour non-stop stream, 7 days, 24 hours. I will be playing D&D on the Nerdy Nightly channel in 12-hour shifts. I'll be doing the night shift. I share a character with Zombie Chantel. Grind Goth Tongue, we're playing a Necromancer. It's going to be wild. Unprecedented. No one's ever done something this wild before that's been streamed. So I'll be there for that whole week. All right, cool. Okay. So we will see you guys next week. In the meantime, stay cool. It's hot out there. Hopefully your air is all right. Things are on fire again. Hot. It's gonna be smoky again.
Apologies on behalf of Canadians.
Sorry from us Canadians.
Yeah, my asthma.
Yeah, it's your turn to apologize.
Yeah.
Canadians always apologize.
You can blame Canada. Blame Canada.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll catch you guys next week. Till then, over now.
Take care, everybody.
Over now.